Ah, the hot tea has been poured. Just about ready. Love to see all you folks on the show this morning. Thank you for coming on. I'll get started here in just a second. I love this piece of music. I'm just going to let it play out a little bit here. Makes the studio just kind of come alive. Hey, grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper. If you don't have one close by, get one. Not that I'm that brilliant. Not that I even close to that, but I might say something that will click a switch in your brain and you'll go, oh, I need to do that, or I didn't know that, or thank you for that. And, ooh, I need to ask him about this. So you can always ask questions. I'll do my best to try to get them. If you ask a question, just give it a couple capital Q's before the question. Click, click. And every now and then I'll search that. So that's the best way to do that. I'll say hello to some of you in a second and we'll get going. Got a couple things I'm going to tell you about. I better clean my glasses while I'm waiting here because I can't see a cotton picking thing. And I'll turn this music down once we start. Okay, that's better. Oh, there you are, Peter, from Peter Pan, the movie. Love that movie. Hey, top of the morning to you, friends. Michael here. Grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for joining me at RoodoodlesLIVE Live. Coming live to you from my illustrious potentate studio just at the top of the stairs and off to the left. In this house we lived in for a long time. Feel a little stuffy today. It's rain, and it got up to 71 yesterday here, and it was like 22 or 13 last week, and so you're going like, Anyway, we're going to get there. Just getting up, though, that's the key, right? Still on this side of the dirt, and if I'm not, I'm in heaven, so let's move on. Love it. Hey, this coming March will be 4 years since I started live streaming this Roodoodles. You know, I painted some every now and then, and I'd shoot videos and I'd put them out, and I really didn't live stream. I did some just FaceTime videos and things like that out and tried to keep up, and then suddenly nobody was going anywhere, and everybody wanted to think art. And I just created a phrase then that Pat kept up with for me, and she's on the show today, called Think Like an Artist. Wait, I'm just getting up and leaving the seat, and I'm going to grab a copy of the book. I keep a copy in my studio. There it is right there. Noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle. Let me just put it on. Boom. There it is right there. And I'll say hello to Pat Brooks. She's on the show this morning. So, hey, Pat, thank you for being on the show. Pat gave me 2 reasons to think about her today. The other one was inside my bag down in the bottom was this. Oh, shucks. Wait a minute. Every time I say I'm going to bring it out here, I lose it. You know, there's only 5 anvils and 2 big bolts and a pair of pliers, and you would think I have a hardware store. In fact, I might have one. Let's see if it's right here. Ta-da! There it is. Pat sent me this little Stonehenge papers, and I have had one of these before, but she put a little note inside it that said, compare it to this, and I did. I painted on it, and I like it. This is a hot press, of course, and I paint mostly cold press, but I got to tell you, there are times that I love when the ink stays very liquid on the paper, and you can move it around, and you get that graduated look, and what I call the mushrooms. Formata is probably the art word, but who uses big art words? Not me. Okay, so Marlena Davis, thanks for being on the show. And Pat, I'm talking about Pat. Pat did the art in this book. I like this, actually. He looks like he's aged just than I have, but in March will be 4 years since I started streaming this. Thank you for hanging on. Thank you for doing art. Thank you for giving art away. Thank you for connecting to people with art. And thank you, those of you who, maybe you can say thank you for, I've been pushing. It's not about art sales, but sometimes when people want to hang your art in their home and they want to pay you for it, artists, people who think like artists, take the money and put it into art supplies. Oh, no, I couldn't. I just give them away. No, they want to say, I want to express my thank you, and I can say thank you. Some people do, and they run. Others say, yeah, but I want to help your talent. I want to help your skills. I want to help you go forward. It's a scholarship. Take it, okay? It's not bad. All right. Gene Anthalzer, thanks for being on the show. Denise Albright from Exeter, California. I keep saying that, and I want to get off the ramp somewhere. Exeter. And pray you're well. Pray your husband's well. Thinking about you guys. K. Marie Pikert. Crystal. Mecca. This is a hard name for me. McElhaney. Okay, so I mess it up every time. And I think you probably send me a note and say, oh, that's close enough. June Jones, thanks for being on the show. Beverly Schmidt from Gray, Greenville. Yes, it has been Gray, Charlotte also. Sitting shotgun in the car, so limited commentating. Okay, or commenting, Pat Brooks says. Okay, Pat, well, appreciate you anyway, so carry on, my friend. Karen Binder, Jennifer, thank you for being on the show. Bender Binder, Jennifer Yinch, Linda Schleitning from Always Beautiful, Ohio, gray or sunny or whatever. Alice Durham, Jason Nicholas, man, coffee and creativity. Good to have Jason on the show. Jason, I had a friend in my studio the other day, and he turned around and said, oh my gosh, I love that bridge that's over there. And I go, Jason Nicholas painted that bridge of lines for me. A great architectural sketch. You love black and white. Thank you so much. Maggie Carnahan, thanks for being on the show. Glenn Edward Small. Let's see. Ooh, Anne-Marie Lydier Hess. I hope I did that okay. Bob Hendricks, thanks for being here. Hot press, cold press, I'm always impressed. Your videos help me get through the COVID shutdown, Crystal says. Well, listen, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like a DJ on the FM station. All right, here we go. Some of you have been playing with steampunk. I saw that. Julie said 4 years ago, got to watch this show. Dang, glad she did. That is funny. Yes, and Bob started painting. And Bob, I thought of you this week when Chip was in my studio here painting grapes with me. We painted them, and dang, we couldn't eat one of them. But I showed him Bob's Bobbers, and so I have it in my stack right over there. It's awesome to have here. Nance Fowler, thank you, from South Florida. Love it, love it, love it. All right, here we go. Tracy Louise Miller, glad to see you again. Tracy? No, I've been here. I'm glad to see you again. So let's do it. All right, so the book is called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, and every now and then I just plug it because you can get it on Amazon. Just go to Amazon. That's the best way to link up with it, and just go. And then Pat and I split the money, and we each get about 3 hot dogs a year, sometimes from the proceeds. But the point is, it's a helpful book. I'm on a kick right now with my grandkids of teaching them things that I know how to do, not because I'm that smart. but because I just have experience of life. And so I just shared little things, and Pat helped me tremendously. She organized some titles of things that I would say and tell little snippets of the story and say it when we started painting in March, or when I started painting. And she said, I've kept up with a lot of these, and she sent them back to me. And I said, Pat, split this book. It may mean nothing for any of us, but it'll at least be a way that you can hold on to something and say it helps people. And here it is. It's got it's got all these little, there's an intro. I say it all the time. Get behind the mule and keep plowing. Stay behind the mule. Keep your hands to the plow. Any variation of that. And the concept is you can't push a plow. You just can't push a plow. It's even hard to push a paintbrush. You try pushing one across and the hair all gets matted up and turns back at you. You can pull and push a little bit, but no, wait. If you go forward, you're pulling. If it comes back this way, the hairs go, you're always pulling it. Have you ever noticed that? Pushing once, if you're stenciling, stubby little brushes, I get it. There's always an exception to every illustration. And not every illustration holds water all the way long. They hold more than a roll of chicken wire, but not a lot of water. Okay, so start small and simple. We're going to talk about that again today. So all of these things they just keep... there's a reverb, an echo in my head where I go, wow. I talked to an artist last night, her and her husband, for a few minutes after an event I went to. Cool people. His name was Levi, and her name was Jules. And I go, you two are cool. Tell me you got kids. He said, yes, we have 3, and they named them cool names too. And I'm going like, okay. I said, so who thinks like an artist here? And she goes, well, I guess I do. So we talked for a while. And art has drawn her heart in. No, never studied it. Her aunt was an artist, and she's pulled in. And I said, please stay in touch with me. If I can ever help you in any way. Art draws the natural artist like a moth to a flame. It's why I love blacksmithing. And so this has some great little topics in it. What if you just did? What if people said, okay, I'm going to do that. Just do it. And so there's stories about why these are important in my life. And Pat I said, man, go for it. And she just did a great job here. Everything is fodder for a story. And so I do believe that all of my art must tell a story in some form or fashion. Even if it's zany as something like this that says, think like an artist. Why do I say think like an artist? I keep repeating things, and some of you know this, but I'm going to tell you what's going on. Here's what it is. When people say, you're an artist, and I'll go, they go, and then they want to say, well, you wear red or orange glasses, you have long hair, I wear a pocket square in my jacket when I go out. I go, that's the only accessory. These are the only 2 accessories that a man can have. Women can have different bracelets, and they can have pashminas and beautiful scarves and printed blouses, and they can. And men, you're stuck with a pocket square if you want one. And so. And so I think, hey, I want to say I'm here, and I like being here, and I appreciate you guys coming into my studio through this camera, and so, but I say, they say you, and I say, no, I'm not really. I like to say I'm not an artist, but I think like one. So really, you have to. You know what it is? It's a way to connect. So that's why I use that line so many times. Oh, you're an artist. No, but I think like one. What does that mean? They ask me a question. When people ask you a question, listen to this, write it down. Those of you who are trying to sell some of your art, move out in the community, paint at restaurants, give it away. When people ask you a question, most of the time, they're ready to hear. They don't ask. If they don't ask you, they don't want to know. I think Jesus said that. I think he said, he who has ears, let him hear. All right. So I think like an artist, and that opens the door. They go, what do you mean by that? And I go, well, it means that when I look at this, I think, look at what we could do with that. I have a producer brain. When I listen to this song, I think, I wish we'd have done that. I wish I'd have painted that color. I'm always wishing something, but that's kind of good. It's not that I'm not satisfied. I'll finish a piece of art and let it go. Put the brush down, back away from the easel. It's in this book. What does that mean? Okay, so here's what we're going to do this morning. First of all, I want to tell you about something that I'm starting, and it's just free if you want to do it. I'm just going to throw them out there, and it's some of this. I'm just going to do it in video form. It's called Rue 857. And I've been talking about it for a while. I've done 5 or 6 of them now. They're not out yet. I've got to do a little mixing on them and put some music in them and make them work. 8 minutes and 57 seconds called. Hopefully we'll get to the point where Rue 857, and you can tell your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, and say, hey, there's this crazy guy. He really isn't an art teacher. He really isn't a great artist. I don't know what he is. But he has these ideas about how people can move their art forward and how they can feel more creative and confident in what they're doing. And I'm telling you what has worked for me. So he can do that. And these are 8 minute and 57 second little clips that are going to go out on my YouTube channel. Okay. Not Good News Rue. That's where I paint through the Bible. It's going to be, that's Good News Rue. This will be 850 Rue. It'll be Roodoodles Facebook page, or excuse me, YouTube page, or it'll be Rue 857. So hopefully the time will come when you can just Google in Rue 857 and up come some of these. So I'm going to put them in, and I'm going to give you an example of what that's like today. Okay, so here's the first example as I paint something tiny. Pat gave me this little piece of Stonehenge paper. She mailed it with a very nice card, and I kept it. And today I opened it this morning very early with a cup of tea. Well, I opened it with my hand, but I had a cup of tea. See, I'm literal. Carol used to think when you said, I got to dig that tree by hand, she thought I had to use my hands. I go, no, I'm using a shovel, but it's a long story. All right. We were at an event last night and at the art gallery, Ann Nielsen's art gallery. And so she said, okay. She always comes over and says hello, and she knows that when I come to her art gallery, sometimes 3 times a year, 4 times a year, I always bring her a little piece of art, tiny little piece of art. And I brought it to her on this Soho paper, and she said, are you still painting your roosters? And I go, Ann. She goes, oh, I know. I just, and I said, but I'm in the middle of painting 2,000 honeybees. And she goes, whoa, really? And I haven't seen her in a long time. And she said, did you bring me a bee? And I said, maybe. So I opened up a book, and I started showing her some of the bees. There's one that says, always behind. And this one says, just dandy. And this is maybe my best dandelion. Yeah. You know how you paint dandelions? Just get the arugula that you eat on your salad out of the fridge and paint it that way. This one says, I want to fly like an eagle. Now that I have that song in your head. This one says, this'll hurt. These are some repeats. This was one that says, I painted a larger one of this. It says, of course there's a difference. A wasp is just a wannabe. This one is a bigger bee flying out. These are kind of more bumbly bee. I just love purple. This one is Arnold Schwarzenegger bee. I'll be black. This one is, whoa, shoot. Those things have thorns. Anyway, so I found her a bee in here, and I wrote Be Willing. And she was having a international compassion event at her gallery last night, and had a special singer that came in, and she had an acronym for the word busy, and I wrote it in there. And I put it on that bee, and I gave it to her. This says, I'm taking this home. And there's a bee flying home with a daisy. This one says, I got to give up eating sugar. Yeah. And then here's one that kind of looks like he's flying straight up like a rocket, which made me think of the one that I opened the thing, and I'm going to show you how to paint this one this morning real quickly. I opened this up, and here he is right here. This is my little beehive. I'm going to come in on that. Hang on, let me focus it right there. There he is on this little Stonehenge paper. I'm going to leave that there just for a second. I'm going to paint another one of these. And this is pretty slick paper, but I'm going to show you how I got the ink to pop a little bit and the color to pop. So we'll do this bee. I'm going to do a rooster. And but I want to tell you this. I was speaking to a group of people last week, and they're a group of youth ministers in this church. Or youth, they work in youth ministry, I should say. And I had them over for a tea, and Carol was fixing some of the things that I had on my apron. And down in my apron pocket, I had this little, I had this little bolt and nut in my apron pocket there. Just a little 3/8 inch hex head bolt. And it made me think of something that I'd been reading. And so I went out in the shop, and I brought a dozen bolts and nuts in, and came in and had a little, and I said, I want to talk to y'all something about today. And for you guys, here's what I wanted you to make a note of if you're interested. Thinking like an artist means this to me. Everybody who gets into art, almost everybody who gets into art, thinks that it's going to be like a moon landing. This would be something I would put on 857, and I'll probably put this one there. So boom. Thinking like an artist is not necessarily a moon landing, but it may be the buildup to launching the rocket to the moon. Okay? I'm not reading this, I'm just coming up with it. And so we remember from July 1969, if you remember where you were, I do. I remember where I was and what I was doing. And this old black and white TV was sitting there in this in Black Mountain, North Carolina. I was on a retreat with my sister on some things, and they said, look, we got to turn this on. And everybody gathered around, and we saw that scratchy, glitchy thing. How could they do that in 1969? Unbelievable. And one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. We all remember that. When we think of art, and I tell a story in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle about meeting a woman in a big box art store, Michael's, and she had a canvas that she couldn't even hardly get in her buggy. And I said, look, she said, you look like an artist. And I said, it looks like you're being the artist. I said, I think like an artist. She goes, what does that mean? I go, well, I said, you doing charcoal, oil, acrylic? You don't have any? She goes, I don't know. I'm just starting. And I'm going like, whoa, you're starting. And so that's the story that I tell in the book. You're starting with a 3x5 thing. And I tell artists all the time, start small, start simple, and learn, because there's not one big giant step unless you are naturally God-gifted, unless you are a phenomenon, unless you are naturally talented when you pick up a pen and you see faces, pareidolia, and you can draw the face exactly what you see. There are people like that. They've been created like that. Yo-Yo Ma musically was that. Beethoven was that. He can hear the tones. My point is, most people have to take a little step by step. And so as I was fiddling, which I'm a fiddler, and I keep another bolt on my desk. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. And I'm always fiddling with it, and I'm putting my hands on the threads, and I'm twisting it like this, and I'm thinking, oh, wait, that I can just do a little bit at a time, and I'll do that. And so that's what I'm after here. Good art is done step by step by step as you learn to control the water, the paint, the brush movement, the right paper for your style. All those things will happen. And so Rue 857 is 8 minutes and 57 seconds that I've talked about the brushes that I love to move and the paper that I love to paint on and how I like to use the water and why I splatter and where my style comes from. So all those are going to be out there for you to share with over and over, or share with your grandkids, or share with your friends. So I gave them all a little bolt and said, quit thinking that you have to make a moon landing. However, we didn't go to the moon without many, 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 many little steps. We just didn't. It took mathematics. It took mounds of paper. It took computers that they were trying to figure out how it all worked. It was a massive thing in just a few years. So my point is 857 in 20 minutes a day for a year, 6 months start. Just something simple every day. You will improve, and you'll go, my art went from me doing the same thing all the time to this, and look at it now. Okay? Now, this is going to seem like a little bit of an unfair juxtaposition, but I'm a big prop person. So instead of this bolt, I use this one because I keep it on my desk for paperweights and other things. And I don't know what happened to the nut on it, but I also know where this bolt came from. It came out of the rock quarry where I grew up as a kid. And so I've had this forever. I want it to always be brown rusty. I just really like it. And it's actually not that dirty. It's just bronzed over the years, but I love this bolt, and I don't even know how big that is across. That is just too cool. I'm gonna measure it here. It's 2 inches, and so this is probably 1.25 inches, an inch and 5 3/8, 1 3/8. This is the steel. And I love the size of this, to think that it took a bunch of these to hold this big derrick down. So my point is this: take small steps, do small things, and then you can graduate larger. And so that's kind of the message in this. There's usually not one giant step. You have to build up to it. But we get disillusioned and we get frustrated and we have a little downer moment. And I'm like, I have all these supplies, I don't know how to use them. Don't do that. Just pick away at it chip by chip by chip by chip. Make an ice sculpture, okay? That's my little message to you today. Let me see if there's any questions here. And, oh, looked in the wrong place. Sorry, I just posted 2 Q's in your queue. B number what? Ooh, that's a good question. The B that I just painted this morning will be, ready for this? Hold on. I'm keeping them on track of them right here. It'll be 1277. So he's going to get 12, 1, 2, 7, 7. I think that's right. I thought I'd already crossed the 80s. Oh, no, I'm wrong. 87. I thought so. B number 87. So here we go. I'm going to paint him right now for you. Ready? Let's put on a piece of, I should play, what's your number of B's? Everybody's asking that. What's your number of B's? That's fantastic. Thank you. There's it. It's B number, that's it. All right. Here we go. Yes, baby steps. 20 minutes a day, 8, 5, and 7. You got it. Small steps prevent overwhelm. Overwhelm is a great word, Jason. I'm going to write overwhelm down. I like it very much. Overwhelm. Jason. All right, I got you on there. Overwhelm. The overwhelm, when that comes on, you get, it's like a small boat being swamped. Okay, watch this. Here it goes. Put on a piece of music and I'm going to paint a bee for you here. The Soho paper. Yeah, and by the way, I'm using this paper. I didn't tell you a whole lot about it. You can find it online or you can buy it at a Jerry's Artorama or any art store, I think. But it's heavyweight drawing paper, and I love it because it's so bright white. It's more like hot press. What's hot press, cold press? Come on, let's go back. Cold press is when I didn't iron this shirt and it's still a little wrinkled and it's got some undulations in it. Hot press, slick, a little slicker. This is not as slick. It's about the same as this paper here. So, but the cool thing about this drawing paper, you know what I used to draw on all the time, and I love it still, this little drawing paper that's so light to carry in my vest pocket, behind my pocket square. But this is only 80 pound. This is 135 pound, and I love it. 50 sheets. I bought this on sale for like $3.60. Actually, I didn't. Yeah, I did buy this one. The other one, Chip brought to my house and just gave it to me. I had to trade him a bean for it, a cup of tea or something. No, I'm just kidding. The point is that it's drawing paper that I just use, and I love my bees on them because it's so bright white. I also still paint, almost entirely on Kilimanjaro. I'm going to unwrap that in a second. But here we go, a little bee music, and let's see what Cody's playing here today. A little dramatic music. All right, I'm going to start with a Pentel 05 Energel, and I'm going to draw a very strange looking I'm going to draw a basketball that's kind of flat on one side. Here we go. Soho 135 paper. Yes, it's called drawing paper. It's called heavyweight drawing paper. It's acid free. It's 4x6. They also make a bigger size. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in sideways like this one. Look, you see that little shape? So I'm just going to, and I'm literally not drawing a line like this. Nope, I'm just drawing a little line with some little teeth in it, just like this. This music might put me to sleep, but I'm going to have to change it here in just a second. But unless the orchestra gets a grip here in a minute. All right, so that's close. That's kind of a close little deal. Now watch this. I'm going to come right in here on this line, and I'm just going to come in with this first little wing, and then maybe a wing up here. We'll come in here with another little wing, and then maybe a wing up here. And then I got to put a couple little antennae out there. He's flying that way. This is the bee's behind. And this is the only leg I'm going to put on him. He's coming out like that. And then these have little shivers coming down like that. Shiver me timbers. Now, watch this. I'm going to take a fountain pen. I'm going to take my Kakuno fine tip. Let me focus that just a smidge here. Hold on a second. Let me focus a little better here. Yeah, that's pretty sharp right there. Okay. So I'm going to take this little focus point right here. Bee bum. It is bee bum. It's the bum in Bumblebee is what got me into this. And I saw a picture of this somewhere, this little bee flying, and I thought, ooh, I want to kind of create my own little. So look, I'm not trying to color this in. I'm not trying to color it like this. By the way, if you're going to color correctly, so to speak. Either crosshatch the same way. In this case, bees have hair or pile, so I'm trying to do this in the shape of how the hair would probably be on the bee. Would be on the bee. A lot of bees in this, to be or not to be. So see that? I just did that. And maybe another little line. And then maybe, just maybe, I'm going to do the same thing with this little block right here. Look, I'm bringing in these little lines. Maybe widen that one up just a little bit right there. Come in here. And then let's put some lines in there that I'm just going to fill in. And while this ink is staying wet on this paper, I'm going to grab my brush. I'm just going to grab a nice little, what's this? A number 3. Clean it out. All right, I'm going to grab this number 3 right here, and I'm just going to go in here. And now I'm really doing something that you teach your kids and your grandkids to do when they come over, and you say, hey, let's get out some markers and let's just color a little bit. I'm just coloring in. I'm just pushing it in. I'm pushing the water in. I'm really not pushing, but I'm trying to push with a brush and on very light paper, but I'm also pulling it in like this. Look, I didn't go get any more water. I just put it in the brush, and I went to get it just like that. So you can kind of see those little lines in there. That's kind of what I was after. And I just painted this completely. No, I didn't. I painted it right. Sometimes I get carried away with myself. All right. I'm going to grab this here. Come in. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it like that for a second. And then I'm going to let that alone. I'm not going to put the yellow in now, because if I do, the black's still running. So I'm going to go get a little bit of just gamboge on this brush, and I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm going to paint. I just said I wasn't going to do that, and then I just reached down there and did it. I got ahead of myself. I go in now, and I just get a little bit of brown, and I'm just touching the same brush. I haven't changed brushes. I pushed it in there just like that, a little bit of brown stripe. Sometimes I'll take my finger and just touch it like this to make it a little rough in the wing. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of French gray and just finish these wings by bumping a little of that brown with the French gray, just like that. Just give those wings a little bit of color. All right. Now, I'm going to grab a little more lamp black, tiny bit on the small brush. I'm going to come in here and just add a little bit of dark to these legs. Okay, I wet these colors a little bit. I just sprayed them. This is the palette I'm in this morning in my cast iron pan right there. So I'm coming in like this, just with this. And I know that some of you do tiny art. I've seen Chris's art. Oh my gosh, she's always into little 2.5 inch pieces. I love it. All right, so I'm going to go now and get a little bit of gamboge, giving that ink a bit to dry, and come in, and I'm going to barely touch the black and bring it in just like that and let it go for a second. I'm going to get I think what I'm going to use for this is some more French gray, and I'm going to pull a little bit of French gray. Bumblebees tend to have a little gray bum, okay? So he's kind of going that way. Look, I'm going to take my pen now, and I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to add a little bit more detail. And you see where I touched there, and it's sort of running into the ink? Look at that. It's roughing up the edge, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. Watch this. Put just a little black spot right there. And just see that? Just a little bit of run on that. Denise is wonderful at this and her little bees. Pat, too. Their cartoon bees are just fabulous. So I'm going to grab a little bit of just cad orange and come in. And I like to shadow some of my yellow with a little cad, just like that right there. And I like the pollen to look like it's on the inside, maybe right in there. And that bee is just about coming together. Watch this. I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to put top on this pen, grab my 05. This is an 05 Pentel Intergel. Why do I talk about those pens so much? It is the coolest little bleeding pen I've ever seen. It looks like this and this. You go, like, it's the same pen. They just put it in a different housing. This one looked a little utilitarian, and this one looked like it should be on the office desk, I think is why they do that, you know. And they want everything to look like it's new and improved. All right, so now I'm going to come in with my brush again. I'm going to get a little more lamp black, and I'm going to darken this just a touch. There's a long hair in there. That's hard to believe. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a little more of that lamp black, and I'm going to bring it in just like this. And I'm going to leave a little light on that side right there because I think the sunshine's coming this way. And so I'm going to leave that side of him just with a little lightness in his body, just like that right there. And I think I might increase the size of this bum just a little with some little bitty fuzz on it. And I'm going to put a little light in his wings just like this. There's no pun when I say light. Okay, a couple of little touches on his antennae, and there's my little bee. Okay, all right. I did this one in what was that? 7 or 8 minutes. I probably did this one in about 10. So I shaped his body a little better here. Did that, but it's bee, and it's stop being behind, and he'll be 1, 2, 8, 8. Ruby. Okay, let's doctor him up here a little bit. Let's get this brush. Let's drop it a little bit on just my. Whoops, I'm gonna clean that brush out a little better. Let's go get a little bit of this and just grab my pencil here, and let's splatter a little yellow just down and around him like that right there. And we'll give this one a shot while I'm at it. I think I'm gonna give him a little shot of orange and yellow too. There we go. And just pick this up and blowing it like that. It looks like he's flying through the air. So Pat, there's your paper. Thank you very much. And there's 2 little bees that are great to just hand out as a business card. You get it? Never thought to use my fountain pens. Boom! There you go. And that's why you have fountain pens. Oh my gosh, can you imagine what fountain pens do? People don't think you're watercoloring if you show up with a fountain pen. They think you've come to sign the second Declaration of Independence or something. You go, no, this is an art pen. Depends on the paper, but you can have some fun with that. Okay, so that is Stonehenge paper. Now, what I might do is, well, it's already open, so let me do it again really quickly here. I'm gonna show you something else with this paper. I'm gonna paint a little rooster on this paper. I painted one this week with one brush. Some of you may have seen it. One brush, kind of wet paint. So here's what I'm gonna do with my paint. I'm gonna move this paper back. I'm gonna bring in my little spray bottle, and I'm going to. That's about twice the amount of sprays that I normally put on those things, okay? So I'm just letting the paint wake up a little bit. These are full pans I keep in here. By the way, I do cover these up at night when I leave them. I drop on this little cover. This is just a sticker, Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. Sure, I give them advertising. I love those guys. And this is 2 magnets on a piece of plastic that I cut for this. Actually, it's a 1/4 inch plastic plate that you can saw. It's not like plexiglass. It's called polyvinyl chloride, something, I don't know. Anyway, it's not Centra, but it's kind of like that. So I keep this on there just to keep stuff from falling in them, and it keeps a little air out. Pretty funny how, well, it doesn't keep the air out, but it keeps me from dropping stuff on it, and it works pretty well. So here's what I do. I just wet that a little more, and I'm going to pull this brush. I'm going to put these brushes up just so, because I'm going to have paint splattered everywhere. These are my pseudo sable brushes. And by the way, 857, I've done a whole thing on brushes. I've done a whole thing on all my pens. I've done a whole thing on paper. This, of course, are American Journey brushes that I had out this morning. Love that. But I'm just going to do what I did this week because I loved it so much. I reached over here. I have some green handle brushes and black handle brushes. This one's a black handle brush. It's a very inexpensive brush. It's a Lowell Cornell 7800 dagger. It's the 3/8 inch. My first brush ever, I keep in there also. It was a dagger, and it's an 1/8 inch There you go. This is the one that I did my first journals with in 2005 before I ever painted my first rooster. I was thinking I want to learn how to sketch notes, and so that's how that came about. This will probably be, that's a mistake. Let's get a bigger piece of paper so you can see. Yeah, let's do this. This is Kilimanjaro 140-pound cotton press. Let me go to a piece of paper here. There we go. You're going like, he passed a lot. No, that was all sketch sheet. Okay, this is 140-pound. Let me just rip it out. And I'm going to open up my camera just a smidge here for you to see. And let's go ahead and focus on this brush. Maybe. There we go. I think that's pretty focused right there. That'll give you an idea. And let's get my big old head out of the way just a little bit. There we go. Look at that right there. Okay. All right. Yeah, sketchnoting is fun. When starting out small, do you recommend focusing on one subject to paint? Great question, Jason. I still recommend focusing on one thing to paint until you're happy with that one thing. Because let's say that you were, I bet if Denise were online on the show right now, she'd tell you this. She was trying to figure out what she was going to paint. She realized that she has a love for dogs. And so I would say she started working on those until she developed the eyes just perfectly. And then she got into honeybees or bees, and she did those for a while. I do the same thing. I started on roosters, and I painted nothing but several thousand roosters for several thousand years. Feels like years underwater. My point was I wanted to get better at how I painted. That's the small steps. I wanted to paint their feet the way my style called for it too. You know, people paint the beak on a rooster that it looks like a stork or something, and it's not. It's a little, but it's not like a hawk either. So you do a study on those over and over. So I would say paint long enough until, excuse me, you master what you think your style is. Will you ever master it perfectly? No. Back to Yo-Yo Ma, he has recorded the concerto in G major, number 1 concerto in G major. He says he's recorded it 208 times, and he said, I may have to do it again or want to do it again, but I think I'm done because I don't think I can ever play it better than I've played it in the last few that I've done. Monet painted over 200 and something paintings of just his water lilies. He would go there and set up, and the light would be different. It'd be a different painting. The next day he'd set up on the other side of the little green bridge. It'd be a different painting. The next day somewhere else, or whenever he did it. Over 200 paintings he did of those water lilies. Sometimes they're just like, and he goes, I love that. And I love the fact that it kept pulling him back. So I do that with my honeybees and with the bumblebees, and sometimes I'll go flying right and left and up and down. And it's really hard to paint one flying down. And he doesn't look right anyway, because artistically, we always see them in a hover mode. We never see them diving. And so we always see them kind of floating, and so we get a good view of the honeybee. So for me, it's kind of been fun. So in this case, I'm taking one brush, and it's this 3/8 inch Lowell Crowd 7800 dagger. There it is right there if you want to talk about it. And so Linda says some of her best landscapes are done in an 1.25 inch circle. Yes, I think I have one. And you're right. Some of those are just fantastic. And I'm not sure why this little Roodoodles is up there, 0. Okay, you 0. So here's what I want to do. I'm not going to sketch anything. I'm not going to use a pen. I'm just going to use a brush. And I should probably know that there's enough. Hey, Paige, you just joined the show. Good morning to have you here. My cup of today is filled with milk and honey. So I'm just going to paint this rooster. As he comes through this brush. So I'm going to start with his head, because the head's going to tell me what the rest of the body looks like. So here we go. Just going to grab a little gamboge, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do his beak. There it is right there. Just turn the brush a little on its side, and I got a great point. And then I'm going to come in like this, and I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to clean this brush. So you're going to see me cleaning this brush quite often as I dump it in my paint. And I'm going to jump over here, and I'm going to grab some Joe's Red, and I'm just going to come in here, and I'm going to do these real quick. Look at this. Ah, look at that. It's going to be a bigger rooster than I thought he was going to be. Now let's grab a little bit of yellow and come down here with his back. And look what happens with this brush. If I've got enough water in it, look what it starts to do. It starts giving me these fantastic brush strokes. Don't you love that? I want to come in and get some French gray and bring that French gray right in here just like this. Now, if this red hits that and makes a little orange, praise be, I'm excited about that. I'm going to grab a little bit of, I'm going to grab a little lamp black and just cut a little piece right in here, just underneath there, just like that, just hitting it a little bit. See that? It's coming out. No sketch. I could not do this had I not done over and over and over roosters. I know kind of how I want it to look. I'm going to grab something. I'm going to grab a little bit of, I think the last one I did had a lot of green in him. I'm bringing some spring, S-P-R-I-N-G, spring green into this rooster. Look at this. And I'm just letting this kind of roll out just like this. And now I'm going to bring a little darker green in, maybe a little olive. I'm going to grab some yellow green, and that's going to come in there. Look at this, 3 different greens in this rooster's tail. And I'm just letting this brush kind of have its way. I'm turning it one way, turning it the other. Look real slowly. I'm bringing it forward like this and just letting it drift out. And then I'm curving it right at the end. Do the same thing with a bamboo brush. You know, you have just, it's you're in charge here. You're controlling this. It's your job to figure out how you want it to be. A little shadow underneath these by bringing a little bit in. Now, my brush is wet, my paint is wet, and I'm bringing it onto paper that's dry, but I'm bringing in enough water to get some of that graduation and fumata, the mushroom effect, to take over. I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown and bring the bottom end to this end. Still got too much black in my brush, but I'm going to go and try and get myself a little more brown in there. There it is right there. Bring that up just like this. I'm going to come here, the top part of his leg, and I'm going to break that down here like this. And now I'm going to come in with some yellow, and I'm going to bring that leg down just like this. And look, I'm taking my brush and I'm just making little circles with it, almost semicircles. If you were a welder, you would see me doing welding moves on this root, just like this. Middle toe's longer than the first toe, and there's his back leg. So how fast did that come out, okay? I love the pink orange you did. Love the combo. Yeah, maybe you want some sherbet. Yesterday, Carol comes in. She goes, Carol has a big day coming up tonight. It's a celebration. It's a surprise, so I'm saying it to everybody online. She knows it's happening because they had to invite her. But everybody, we don't know who's coming, and I'm not invited. It's just some women friends from across the country, and coming in for it's not even her birthday, but it's a little before, so they're going to surprise her with this beautiful event tonight. I know nothing about it. They said they weren't going to tell me, and they weren't kidding. And the reason is because I tell her everything. And so, you know, I'm no good at keeping secrets. They found that out the first time they tried this. And so for me, it's kind of fun. So some of her friends came in last night. In fact, I got a video to show you here in just a second. I'm going to come in with a little bit of just brown underneath. And now I'm really being light with this brush. I'm just barely touching the point of it like this. And this is not to run out and get you to buy a dagger brush. Could I do this with another big brush? Yes. My point is you should get to where you could do this with just about any brush you want to do it with. And you should do it well over and over and over. Whatever you have. You could probably do this with your finger, but it'd be hard to get some of these little pieces that are coming out. All right. Look how this is coming together. And you go, my gosh, this is turning into a good rooster. And I didn't sketch. I didn't draw. In my mind, I did. I've drawn and sketched so many of these. You get the point now? I've drawn and sketched so many of these that I see all these little pieces take place. This is a symphony. I hear all the notes, and I can write it for the oboe, but I don't play the oboe. But I can say, oboe player, I want this. If you've never heard Gabriel's oboe piece from the Mission, you should listen to it. Oh, my. heavens. Sometimes I just put on classical music when I drive and I just go, whoa, I hear that. I almost see that. And so this sounds very over dramatic for a watercolor rooster, right? But I know where this is going to go. And you think, well, wouldn't you wanted this to? No, I just wanted it to happen. And so I love it so much when it just sort of happens like this. Now I'm going to really blow your mind. I'm going to come in here and just put a piece of orange right up in there like that. Look at that. This is second to how I love to paint roosters. The first way I love to paint them is with a pen sketch and wet the page and then just drop in liquid watercolor and just let it go. Wow. The next way is probably with a brush, sometimes a brush this big. Look at this thing here. This is a number, what, 14, I think, or something like that. Could be, yeah, 14. A 12, an 8, a 12, a 14. You don't see me do this a lot because I don't use them on the show. They're so hard to show what you're doing. But this will give you a good idea of what it's like. Now, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to come in with a little bit, just a touch of black on this. And I'm just going to do some little bit of detail work with the black. Look at that, just on the edge of that. You can't even hardly see it, but watch this. What happens? You can probably see some of it here. Look at what's going in on his leg here. And then we just tap this brush here to get the toenails. I'm going to have to add a little bit of yellow to this foot right here just to make it come together a little better so that you recognize it as a foot. There it is right there. A little hip come down. A touch of orange in these feet. That one has a little more orange than this one. And then put some up in there on the hip and a little yellow on his hip right here where it comes down. Got a little elbow that comes out like this. You should look at the anatomy of a rooster or a bee or a dog before you paint it. Just go, oh, it has 4 feet. No, that's why horses are so tough. They got so many pieces. The hock comes down this way and the knee joints turn this way and the frog in the foot sets up this way. It's awkward. Their nose flares at a different place. Or a camel. I don't even want to go down that road. Okay, so here we have it right here. We're going to have a little piece of red jump in right there, just as that little piece goes back. And then I'm going to come in here. And the only pen I'm going to, nope, not even going to do that. I'm just going to go in here and do his eye with the brush. I'm going to make sure I got a clean brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of this. I'm going to go right there at the end of that and just do a little, just right there. Oh, and I did a little, almost like an arrowhead. And I'm going to keep it. And then I did another little piece. Boom. Okay. Now in a minute, no, I'm not even going to wait on a minute. I'm just going to do it now because it's wet. I'm going to come in here and just put a little bit of this underneath him just to shadow this just a little bit. Clean my brush out and then go in here and just pull this together with a little water. See what happens? Any little soft brush. Don't work at this. Play at this, please. There's a little more red running up inside his beak than I want. So I'm going to go in and clean some of that out right here. Just do an eraser. And then I might just touch a little more, not I might, I am going to touch a little more yellow right in there, just like so. And sometimes I like throwing a little orange on top of this red just to give that comb a little texture. Okay. And then let's come down like this. Let's do a few more little cuts out. This is where this brush is just fantastic. Okay, any brush though. I can do this with, like I said, you should be able to do this with you can do this with a bamboo brush. You can do this with any brush you have. It needs to carry enough water to give you a little bit of a boost. I'm going to take a little more black right in here, and I'm going to boost this down just a little bit like this. I want a little more dark coming over this hip, and right in here I want some shadow. And here, and then I think I'm going to splatter with a little bit of this, what's left of black in here, just along here. I've never seen a chickens are like Pigpen from Charlie Brown. When they walk, they kick up a dust storm. They're like, scratch for this. If you haven't watched chickens in a while, you should just go watch some. And then, well, I will tell you this: it'll change your appetite for them. You'll want to eat a hamburger that night after you go watch chickens for a while. They are there's some messy culprits. I'll tell you that. All right, I'm just barely putting a touch of black here. It looks like I'm using a pen. I'm being so light with this brush. I can't tell you how hard this is for a blacksmith to go, oh, careful. Not everything in a blacksmith shop, you don't beat the fool out of everything. There's a lot of finesse that's involved. And so that's why some of you, and by the way, let me go back to why start small, because that finesse comes with small painting. It doesn't come with big painting where you're going like, hey, sometimes I watch where people just open up 5-gallon buckets and throw it on, or they'll punch a hole in the bucket and spin it on a rope, and I'll go, I appreciate that. They go like, look at this design I've made here. And I'm going like, I'm not talking bad about you, man, but really gravity and thrust and forward motion and backward motion of the natural pull of a pendulum. Are you really in charge of this piece of art? I don't think so. But do I like the design? Yes. But remember when you were a kid and you had a toy that was called a spirograph, and you had a little gear in a gear, and you go, look what I made. And you go, that's fantastic. But that also taught you some finesse. You put the pin in there and you were careful to track the gear. That's why I like to start small and simple. Okay. All right. That's a cool little painting. So look at this. In a matter of just a few minutes, we went from here to there. All right. These little things that I've done afterwards, dropping paint here and here, that's as much of making it my style as the big blocks where I just kind of whip the brush around, whoop, 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 and it looks like I'm probably going on camera a whole lot faster than I am. But honestly, I'm really just kind of, it's just so light. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead right now. Okay? Now I just splattered water all over the place. Looks like a chicken in a watering jar. Just splattered everything over there. Sorry. Okay. Let me show you a couple of photos, and then I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Got a little bit of breakfast to cook for some folks this morning. What else is laid on the desk that you might see? I was going to paint a small rooster on this Fabriano paper. I think you know I love Fabriano for tiny little pieces of artwork. I mean, it's so bright white. I love that. I don't like the surface face because if I paint a big something on it, I tend to see a similar tracking. It doesn't look natural. My point is this: you put a piece of steel out in the weather and it rains and the rain falls on it, and the rust that happens is very natural. A piece of stone is natural. When we try to paint rust, we paint it on with a brush, and that doesn't look natural. This looks like the paper is not natural enough for me. It may, it's not cotton. So that's why cotton fabric has that look already. Same with this paper is this paper is a little more natural. This is what I painted that pink and orange rooster on yesterday. It's Italian paper. It's called Magnani 1440. I have no idea where I picked it up. Somebody brought it. I think somebody brought me this. Maybe somebody mailed it to me. If I did, I'm so sorry. I can't remember. But yes, somebody did send me this. And I've used probably 8 or 10 of the sheets, and I like it. It's a pretty good paper. And I looked and thought, this paint's just like 100% cotton. 100% cotton. I'm spoiled, okay? Still love me some Kilimanjaro. It's what this is right here, 100% cotton, bright white. It's what I love for my style. I'm a fan of quick throw down, easy, and all this is in my Rue 857, the Soho paper, because it's heavy, and I love this Fluid 100. I don't love it as much as Kilimanjaro, but I love it. This is 5x7, comes in this little Charles Reed folder, and this is beautiful little paper to throw in my bag and have on the airplane or wherever I'm flying, and so that's a pretty good thing. You always have to think like an artist. That's huge. Let me show you a couple photos. Let me go back and see if there's any more questions. Boop, boop. Oh, shoot, I did it wrong again. Hold on. You'd think I'd learn how to use my own system, wouldn't you? Yeah, I think not. Okay, here we go. Boop, boop. All right. When starting out small, you recommend focusing. Okay, I got that. When you get to 2,000, are you going to continue? Most certainly. I will always do bees. I'll probably just start. I won't have to worry about the big numbering system on them. Somebody will have one of the 2,000 that I've done, and then I'll just go start again. But the whole point is to have some of the 2,000s. As he painted 2,000 bees, and you go like, oh, really? That's a lot. And you go, and you don't know how many it is until you get 900, and you think, oh gosh, that's a lot of bees. So they're out there somewhere. These I probably will have in a bee auction. I'm going to scan them because, honestly, I love these. I gave 2 of them away last night, but I photographed them before I gave them away. And so I gave one to Anne at the art gallery. Let me show you what that looks like. I gave her this one right here. Let's see. I think I have a picture of Anne holding it here. Where is that picture? Dang it. Hang on one second. I got to move some things around here. If I can I move things around? Oh, yeah, here she is right here, coming in. Let's go up to, I'm just going to throw it over this painting. Here it goes. Boom. There's Ann Nielsen, the artist. Maybe she comes up. There she is right there. Oops. Man, that's a big old painting, huh? And there's her painting right there. Sweet lady. We've known her for a long time. And she had an event for, so this one says, be willing. And she did a project for international, oh my gosh, compassion children and rescuing children and last night. And so it was pretty fun. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to get rid of this. And I want to show you what happened at the gallery. Let me show you one of my paintings that I loved at the gallery. Here it is right here. Got a few more minutes. I'm going to take 2 more minutes to do this, and then I'm out of here. This is too much glare on this and where it was sitting on the bookshelf, but these are some radishes that someone did in oil. And by the way, it's just fabulous. Look at it. Look how loose it is. Look how unfinished it is. It's just one of my favorite paintings. Someday I may own that painting. Here's another one that I love. Take a look at this. This is oil painting also. Let me come in on it a little bit. Look how loose and beautiful these flowers are. Come on. I love them. Hydrangeas, some daisies or pom daisies, or even some rudbeckia. Yeah, this has forced me to learn some. And look at this painting right here. Let me show you. Look at this. You're not going to believe this. Look at that. Actually, those are real petunias that are pressed into that cheese. This was part of the hors d'oeuvres. But I thought, that's a great painting. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. All right. So the special guest was this person. I can't do a lot of this, but I'll show you who he was. And Yaya's right in the front here. Wait a minute, sorry. I'm going to get rid of me here. His name is Ruben Studdard. You might remember him from American Idol. There's Yaya right there standing up dancing with her pashmina on. So Ruben was a nice guy. They all had their picture. These ladies in front row came in from Jacksonville to be with Carol last night. So there's Ruben. He was there, and he did some music for this. Came off tour to do this for these folks and said, let me come and be a part of that and just say thank you for what you've done. And for compassion. He's on the road with Trey Aiken right now, and he had a date between tours. And he flew into Charlotte, and they brought him over. And my friend Doug was there last night. I saw him. He set up the sound, and it was just a great evening. And money was raised for some children across the world, from prenatal to 22 years old. They help them educate them. It's a fantastic project. You sponsor a child for so much money a month. And so that's what I was a part of. Okay. Hey, thanks for being a part of my show. And we're going to celebrate. I'm going to throw a little party here. I'm probably going to have Carol bake a pound cake, and I'm going to eat the whole cake on the show. And so if you want to, we'll talk about that in February, how we're going to celebrate March's show, or maybe the first part of March. I'll give you an opportunity to send in a comment or a quote, and I'll read some of your quotes on the show. Let's do that. Can we do that? Can somebody remind me to do that? I should write it down here, shouldn't I? Yes. But we'll celebrate somehow. I'm thinking it was around March the 28th or so. So it was toward the end of March that I started working on this consulting thing of how to stream for a friend. That's how it happened. So look for 857. It's coming up in the next 2 weeks. I'll be here to paint some more, and I'm probably going to come on one night and auction off some bees. I might try to get to certainly 1,300 first, and I'm keeping a few. So I'm going to let them go in 2s and 3s so you can put them and frame them together or give them out to friends. And so we'll do a little bee auction coming up. Blessings. Stay behind the mule. You can't push a plow. You just have to be there, show up, put your hands on the plow, hold it in the row, and let the force pull it. This thinking like an artist is just let it pull you through, and you change and think and move toward your style. I like this. I like this painting. I might post this painting today. He's really good. I like him well enough to turn him loose. I'm going to come in and do a little bit of pen detail. I'm going to put a little bit of a break in here, and I'm going to sign it, and I'll come up with a caption of some sort. And we'll call him One Brush Willie, and we'll go from there. All right, blessings to you all. Thanks for being a part of my show. I am out of here like a herd of turtles. It's way past my time. Can you do a quick plug for, wait a minute, Jason just asked me a question. What is it, Jason? Let's see. Can you do a quick plug for your tea towels and other products? Yes, I could. I do have some, my tea towels are, most of them are Christmas, but we've got, the folks are going to come out with some new ones. But if you want to know what I have, you can look at my website. There's a pen prints shop, and there's also my Etsy store. My cups are available. I've got a dozen of these. You can get those by, I think, just emailing me or on my Shopify here on this site. But I also have my other cups that are out there. There's a lobster cup, and there's a couple camp enamel cups, and then there's a rooster cup. And there's one of my bee mug is out there, which is kind of fun. And but thank you for reminding me that I have other products out there. The fun thing is for you to stay at it and keep moving. All right, blessings on you. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Oh, let's start in the low end.